So I think against all odds in Africa, the main issue is not from the supply side, not a discrimination from the financial institutions towards women. The problem, a study that has been done by the African Development Bank has shown no discrimination against women in terms of allocation of credit. What the study has shown is that there is a problem of self-selection of women themselves out of the credit market. You may ask why. The reason is a low perception of women themselves on the creditworthiness of their own businesses. And we are talking here not about early stage companies. And so this is a behavioral aspect that needs to be addressed by the policymakers. The other issue that has been touched on is an aversion to risk by female. Men are more risk takers than female. So in terms of supply side, there is no issue, there is no discrimination. In terms of demand side, there is a low capacity of women to assess the financial aspect and the business creditworthiness. There is a behavioral problem, which is a self-selection of women themselves out of the market of the credit. And finally, and I think it is an important one, is the non-access of women to capital and to investors and to enabling ecosystems, which are the incubators, accelerators, or the angel business networks. So these are for the causes, and this is what the data show in Africa, and especially in North Africa. Now, when it comes to the solutions, I think there are four pillars that policymakers need to work on. First is to give access to give women access to capital and to funding. And it has been said, it could be a crowdfunding, it could be microfinancing, it could be grants, it could be whatever sort of, it could be credit. The second, access to literacy, so literacy about finance, literacy about knowledge about leadership and how to present their business case. The third pillar that we need to address is give women access to markets, because what data has shown is that women, even when they are at the center of power and they are entrepreneurs, they will focus on local markets. They will not expand on international markets. So we need to enable women to think about international markets and export markets. Fourth pillar, and the last pillar that policymakers need to think about, is to adjust their policies based on data. So they need to sponsor research on female entrepreneurs and guide their policies according to the data. So my final point would be, and this would be a recommendation to policymakers who I hope will listen to this talk or this panel, is to have an ecosystem approach and a sector-based approach. So what is the ecosystem approach? The ecosystem approach is when the policymakers will be deciding on reforms on a legal side or on a regulatory side, I would like them to link those reforms to the public and private investments in a manner that it will expand this access to markets, it will expand access to capital, it will expand access to information and to communication. The second approach that I would recommend, the sector-based approach, is that we need to have targeted policies that are geared against science, technology, and communication in information. I am in the biotech industry, so I will also raise awareness on the biotech, medtech, etc. So this is what I wanted to say, and I hope I answered the question.
Thank you very much, Kauthar, for these insightful talks. As we are